Today you join me over at Grange Fishery, which is over in Staffordshire way by Leek, and now we're in the middle of the Moorlands here and it is absolutely stunning. You've got Roaches Hill over the back there. It's peaceful, it's beautiful, but yeah, really looking forward to this one. It's a 2.5 acre lake and I'm going to tell you all about it, everything you need to know, and hopefully how to catch a few carp. Now in the meantime, I've done a couple of laps around the lake. I've seen one show, but also, more importantly, there's a fresh new wind coming in. We've had 27 degrees for the previous God knows how long with a few storms. The weather's looking a lot better with a lower pressure. I've seen some fizzing in front of me on that bank into the new wind, so it's definitely time. Get the gear sorted, have another good mooch about, and see if we can catch one for the camera. But yeah, seriously looking forward to this one. This one's beautiful. We're getting to the venue a little bit later than I'd anticipated. I popped to the farm shop to grab a load of essentials, and then it was a case of bivvy up, and then what I wanted to do was just let the fish tell me where to fish. Now I set myself up in the middle of the lake, give myself access to everywhere. I'd already seen a few fizzing along the sort of dam wall side, and then it was a case of each time I saw some sort of show, I wanted one of my rods as close to the fish as I could possibly get to, and just let them show me, whether that be fizzers or shows. Before you know it, the day was drawing out and I was greeted with a beautiful sunset. Right, what has been rather a frustrating session so far. It started off wonderful, you know, in these amazing surroundings, beautiful weather. It was just everything was looking sweet. Managed to have one in the middle of the night on the washing line method. Put that in the sling. While that happened, the other rod went off at exactly the same time, which managed to snap my line, which is quite concerning. So I've re-spooled that, put my new, but some stronger line on just so it doesn't happen again. Whilst that was happening, the fish jumped out the net, which bizarrely has never ever happened to me in all my angling. And then since then it has just poured down and I've been pretty much bivvy bound, struggling to get any filming done. But I have just had one and it is in the sling just down to the right of me. So all is good in the world. That's certainly put a smile on my face. You want to check this one out? I'm going to get it out now and show you. Right, this isn't quite what I envisaged when I turned up to the fishery. Obviously you got the beautiful roaches over there. I was thinking nice fish, backdrop. Oh, it look amazing. Anyway, this fish has woken me up first thing this morning and the rain has just non-stop since. So I'm not going to keep it any longer. I'm just going to give you a quick little show of it. It's a beautiful little linear. It's kick-started my session. You know, yes, it might be small, but you know what? I'm always happy when you're catching, and that's the first one. Hopefully I can sneak another one and get the shot that I'm after. So lovely days. I gotta admit, it'd all been looking very, very slow this session, but that middle rod, which is just to the side of the island, has absolutely wazzed round, and it was the most epic bite trying to get it from the island. It had me round the back, the rod nearly went in, it was bent double, and I look like I've got a good fish. I mean, this has given me a really good fight, this fish. The other rod's on a washing line method, so I haven't got to worry too much about that. Yeah, but this wind has changed 3 or 4 times since I've been here, and they definitely seem to follow it. But the bizarre thing is, it's dropped temperature massively, and it is quite cold. They still like it patrolling that island. Now I'm not right on the island, I'm off it a bit. It's quite shallow there. Well, I felt it quite shallow, and I just dropped it on the edge of the island, and yeah, it's managed to produce for me. That is what we come here for. Right, after a frustrating start to this session, which hasn't quite gone my way, this little beauty has certainly made up for it. What an absolute mega fish. You know, the scales on it, more or less fully scaled, beautiful this side, beautiful that side, beautiful both sides. It is a right beast. He gave me an epic fight, really battled hard to be fair, trying to get it away from the island, but made up that I got it in the net. So at the moment the old bag seems to be the winning trick. Just pinged over a few little boilies over the top, nothing too major, 4 or 5, and the solid bag seems to be producing the bites. So long may it continue, and I'll keep working hard at it and see if we can get another one of this. But this is what you come here for. Beautiful, hard fighting, stunning fish in the most epic backdrop, which would be even nicer if the sun was out. But can't complain, I've got a mega fish under the belt, so happy days. Yeah, bait-wise been a little bit interesting. I've caught on a couple of tactics, or thought that was a fish then. Now the first one being over on the washing line, and that has consisted of sweet corn, some crumb, some cold pressed pellets, some boilies, and some crushed boilies as well. So I do all the crushed boilies at home, and while I'm mixing it, I add all the glugs and bits and pieces, all the sort of additives that I like in it, and then that way it's soaking up all that goodness ready for my session. The most productive rod has been the one by the island. I saw them fish late last night, and what's consisted and what's worked well there is a big solid PVA bag, and then just 5 or 6 boilies just pinged with a catapult lightly over the top, and that has been my most consistent rod. What is nice is when you do go to these different fisheries and you're on there for a shortest amount of time when you've got all the work to do as well, the bait is catching the fish for me as well. Now obviously I'm picking the right locations and stuff like that, but yeah, consistently very pleasing how things are going. I managed to keep in a few fish on the bank, which is great for you guys. It shows that, you know, I'm not the best angler in the world at all, you know, but by going to lots of different fisheries and adapting your tactics here, there and everywhere, and just being open-minded to the situation, is certainly working. Now one thing I never do is go to a lake with preconceived ideas. I just turn up and ultimately try and find a fish and then just bait accordingly. Now certain sessions I've been piling in the bait, but that's because the more I put in, the more I was catching. Other sessions like this has just been trickling it in really, little and often. Now they do say less is more when they describe this lake, because it is quite a tricky little lake, but I think you've just got to think outside the box a little bit and just be stealthy and sensible with your approach. You know, it's a small lake, they do know they're getting fished for, so you know, adopt that. Make sure you're not casting here, there and everywhere. You know, get your spots sorted pretty quick, or let the fish tell you where they are, and then just go from there. You know, I haven't thrust the water to foam, I haven't got the spot out. You know, everything's been intricate little traps really. So fingers crossed, there's chance of one more at some point. So, Grange Farm Fishery. What you've got is 2 lakes and they are both set in beautiful surroundings. I cannot describe to you how amazing it is. I'm hopefully you'll get it behind me, and I'll showcase it all around during this video. But yeah, absolutely stunning. It's peaceful, it's quiet, you're in the middle of nowhere, you know, in the Moorlands. It's just a special place to come and fish. Now, you've got 2 lakes on site. You've got Brooklyn, which is the one that I've fished. Now that is 2.5 acres in size. Now there are 9 pegs dotted around the lake. You've basically got 4 either side and 1 up in front of the island. You've got depths up to 8 foot in this lake, and the margins in various places are just brilliant. You've got the perfect depth. You've got loads of little hard spots, soft spots, and the interesting thing is, for me, I've actually caught on the hard spots in 2 different areas. Now my third rod, which is I've had a little bit more roaming around trying to see where I can nick a bite, I've struggled a little bit. I've fished to where the fish have been showing me, but yeah, it just hasn't quite gone. So I have just dotted it on some fizzes now and just see how that goes for the last little bit of the session. But the stock in here is moderately stocked, but it's not going to be an easy lake to come and fish. But having said that, I have had 4 bites in total, and I got here 24 hours ago. So, you know, there's definitely the chance of a bite. There's some brilliant types of fishing. I've caught them on PVA bag, washing line. You know, the island's pretty cool. You know, I've seen them milling around there. It's shallow the one side, it's slightly deeper the back end. You've got 8 foots down there. Finding the spots is certainly not a problem. You can present on a lot of areas. So, you know, it is an interesting lake. So Roaches View is 3.25 acres. Now the depths vary up to about 10 foot in that. It's slightly narrower and slightly longer with an island in the middle. And again, wherever you fish on that lake, you've got views which are just incredible. And it's just so quiet around here. I mean, you have got the farm behind us with the old cow and sheep, but that's not a problem. You know, so in there, the carp go up to mid doubles. They're fastly putting on the weight. You know, it's a chance for a bite, a bit of fun, loads of activity, and a good chance to get a bend in the rod. Solid PVA bags. One of the most deadly methods ever going. Now, they do catch everywhere. Now, for years and years and years, I sort of like made them compact, small. My thinking behind it was, you know, minimal disturbance, maximum results, you know, that sort of thing. So I've spent, you know, quite a few years doing this and catching, you know, numerous good fish up and down the country, various different venues. So, but it wasn't until recently that when you do a few matches, you start to notice a few things, and also some of them things are like some different anglers basically. Now there are 2 remarkable anglers that I know who very consistently are very good. Now when I was watching them, you know, they do basically, they love their solid bags, and I got chatting to them about it, and they basically, their theory is if you're going to feed them, you've got to feed them. So they go onto these big bad boys, and to be fair, what I've started to do recently is copy it. You know, it works everywhere. So why wouldn't you? You know, I'm not one for chopping and changing, but certainly something like that is definitely worth trying. Now, you know, the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. I used to fish like a matchman in my PVA bags, just teeny bits of ground bait, and then with the hook bait. And of course, one waft of the tail and that bait is all but gone. So, you know, with this, you're packing in as much pellet as possible, and you know, that is enough to give you one bite easily. Now the disturbance factor, that's gone out my head now. You know, it does go in with a big splosh, but no more than a spom or anything like that. So, you know, I don't worry about that. I pack it full of 2mm pellets and cold press pellets. Now, I think that's my edge. You know, the cold press pellets have caught me so many fish. I get to visit lots of fisheries up and down the country. Wherever I go, they seem to work, so long may it continue. Now, the reason why they're so good is because they're pressed and not cooked, so it maintains 60% of the pellet goodness in it. And to me, that powers some real punch to them, and it certainly worked for me. And it's, like I said, it's a confidence thing. To go into these places knowing that you've got a winning bait that will work. You know, I know my boilies work, I know my PVA bags will work. Then really it is just a case of trying to find them, and you know, yesterday's slow setup enabled me to do that. So yeah, give it a go really. What an absolute stunner, and a lovely way to end my session here at Brooklyn Grange. Now, it has been really enjoyable. I've loved every minute of it. It's just breathtaking. It's a beautiful way to end the day, and that is me out. So thank you very much for that parting gift, and yeah, check out the app, check this place out, you won't be disappointed.